So there is the step of faith. But secondly, there is a step of confession. In verses 3 through 5, for I acknowledge my transgressions. Now let me stop there a second. Acknowledging my transgressions. Who do we acknowledge them to? Well, you'll notice that he makes it clear his sin was against God. When our sin is directly against someone else, I think we should acknowledge to them as well. But these people that go and just air out all their dirty laundry, I'm not sure that's what God has in mind. I remember a Sunday school teacher teaching a group of teenage girls, junior high girls, in a church that I once served, and she would stand up there and she would say, girls, I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. And then she would go on to tell them how she was unfaithful to her husband, or had been unfaithful to her husband. And she would go into detail. And these girls didn't need to hear all that. In fact, none of us did. Nobody did. But we should apologize as far as the people we hurt to them and make things right with them. Acknowledge our sin. He said, my sin is always before me. Against you, you only have I sinned. No matter what we do to hurt people or whatever sin we commit, it's a sin against God ultimately. So he said, against you and you only have I sinned and done this evil in your sight, that you may be found just when you speak and blameless when you judge. Behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, and in sin my mother conceived me. David acknowledged his sin before God. He took ownership of his sin. He confessed that he alone was responsible for what he had done. And we too must acknowledge our sin before God. Each and every one of us is responsible for our own sin.